What if we're configuring something on the Palo Alto and it goes terribly, horribly wrong, and we want to revert back to a previous state? Well, there's actually multiple ways of doing that. Some of it is in the Palo Alto itself, and some of it is due to snapshots that we could take in the VMware environment. In this nugget, I'd like to share with you a technique regarding using VMware snapshots to make your lab experience that much more robust. Let's begin. One of the things that I've been using as we've gone through this course together, and I felt I should share it with you because it's a pretty cool tool, is I'm using snapshots inside of VMware Workstation to save my work. And here's how it goes. We'll do a demonstration, for example, on the initial configuration. Then what I'll do in VMware Workstation, I'll do a snapshot in VMware Workstation, and then I'll power it on and go forward. And that's really helpful if I want to do something like 2 or 3 times or practice a couple different ways with it. I can go ahead and make changes, and then when I'm done, I can roll it back with my snapshot to that exact moment when I took the snapshot, and then do that same exercise again. The other thing about snapshots in VMware is that it's really not a great idea to keep more than one snapshot for a virtual machine. So the process that I've used, and I'd like to encourage you to use it as well, is once you configure something, we'll power down the Palo Alto firewall, create a snapshot, and then power it on and move forward. And then when we make additional changes and they're all good and everything's solid, we power down the Palo Alto again, we delete the previous snapshot, and we create a new snapshot. So we have a little, basically X marks the spot, or asterisk marks the spot in this case. A point in time that we can go back to over and over again as long as we need it until we delete the snapshot and move forward. So it would go something like this. We make a change, for example, let's go ahead and click on the Device tab over here on the top right. And over on the left, let's select Administrators, and let's change the default password for admin. To do that, we're going to select the admin user here by clicking on him, putting in the old password, which is admin, putting in our new password, which I'm going to use my lab password, which is capital NUGGET exclamation mark 23, and I'll repeat that, and then click on OK. Now, of course, we'd also want to go ahead and commit that, so it's part of the running configuration, and we'll click on OK. And then we'll let that commit finish. We'll go ahead and click close. Again, going down to tasks, we can verify the current status. And sure enough, it's currently done. And we'll click on close. And now let's go ahead and shut down the Palo Alto. Now, a graceful and probably appropriate way to shut down the Palo Alto firewall is we go to the Device tab. And over on the left, we'd select Setup. So under Device and Setup, if we click on Operations, from the Operations sub-tab, we can select right here, Reboot Device or Shut Down Device. And shut down is very much what it sounds like. It's going to gracefully shut it down, and then to power it back on, we're going to have to reboot it or repower it on. So we'll go ahead and click on Shut Down Device. It's telling us that, hey, this is going to shut down the system. And we say yes, and it's on its way. Now, inside of VMware Workstation, it may take somewhere between 30 seconds and 3 or 4 minutes for it to gracefully shut down all its processes and really be down. But we can verify that just by looking at the console and the details inside of VMware Workstation. Let's do that now. So here in VMware Workstation, you'll notice that this Palo Alto virtual machine still has the icon, the green arrow icon next to it, which implies that it's still in the process of shutting down. And I just took my mouse and clicked in this window to bring it active. So it's in the process of currently stopping the software. And once it's completely done, what will happen is over here it'll indicate that there's no green arrow, which implies that it's not currently running. So we'll give it just a few moments to let it completely stop everything gracefully. All right, and it is down. Through the magic of editing, I sped that up just a little bit so we didn't have to watch and wait for the whole thing. But now that it's powered down, we'll select that Palo Alto virtual machine, and we'll go up here to the icon for Manage Snapshots. Now we could also right-click on the Palo Alto and go down to the snapshot from the drop-down, and right here we could go ahead and manage our snapshots as well by simply clicking on Snapshot Manager. Either way gets us there. And what I'm going to do is I have this snapshot from just after we configured a DMZ resource. So now that I've added new configuration and I'm comfortable with the new configuration, I'm going to go ahead and select that old snapshot, click on Delete, and remove the old snapshot, which is going to consolidate the virtual hard drives, the Delta drive and the primary drive in the background, and make everything nice and tidy once again. And the second thing we're going to do is we're going to take a new snapshot, and we're going to call it something meaningful, like just after changing admin password to, and I'll put the password here as well. Probably not a great idea in a production environment to put your passwords as part of your notes for snapshots, but at least it'll remind me what it is right here. and then we'll click on Take Snapshot. Now, one of the reasons that that snapshot happens so fast is because the machine is not running. If a machine is running and we take a snapshot, it's going to have to capture all the memory state information and everything else, and the snapshot takes considerably longer. So I would recommend power it off, manage your snapshots, take the new snapshot, then power it back on and continue on your way. So we'll go ahead and close the Snapshot Manager. We'll right click on the Palo Alto firewall again and simply select Power and say Startup Guests. And now it's powering on. And then in a few minutes, it's going to be up and running. And the great news is that you and I can revert back to that state right after we had changed that admin password anytime we need to by simply using the Snapshot Manager in VMware Workstation to go back there. And for a lab environment, that's fantastic. In this nugget, we've taken a look at using the snapshot feature inside of VMware Workstation to have a point in time that we can return to if we need to as we work with the Palo Alto firewall. So that's a technique that I use all the time as I'm working on courses and doing demonstrations, and I thought I'd pass that along to you as well as a tool that you can use. So have fun, lab up everything, get that hands-on practice. I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.